Hi everyone, I'm back with another celebrity reading recommendations video. So, this one is, of course, Tom Hiddleston. So, Tom Hiddleston, as you may or may not know, was Loki in the Marvel Universe. He was also in The Night Manager. He was a vampire in Only Lovers Left Alive. What else has he done? He's in the new Stephen King thing. I can't think of what it's called at the minute. It's on Netflix. He's in that. I See the Light as Hank Williams. What else has Tom Hiddleston done? Not quite a bit. He was in What You Do About Nothing with Haley Atwell on the stage. So there's just a few of Tom Hiddleston's works. Now these are his book recommendations, and I'm going to say this now, very much like Sebastian Stan. This didn't go very well. I love Tom Hiddleston. I think he's a brilliant actor. You could do with some better reading options. So we're going to start out with Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy. I actually DNF'd this. I gave this a 1-star DNF at 35%. So Anna Karenina, according to the back, is one of the greatest love stories in world literature, according to Vladimir Nabokov. Now, I disagree with that man, very much so. So according to this, Anna Karenina, the heroine of Tolstoy's epic of love and self-destruction, has beauty, wealth, popularity, and an adored son, but feels that her life is empty until she encounters the impetuous officer Count Vronsky. The subsequent affair scandalises society and family alike, and brings jealousy and bitterness in its wake. Contrasting this with the vividly observed story of Levin, a man striving to find contentment and a meaning to his life. Apparently this is a self-portrait of Tolstoy. This was less of a love story and about an affair, and more about Tolstoy's political stances and farming techniques. Yes, farming techniques, I did say that. This book could have done with serious editing. I mean, look how big it is. Which doesn't intimidate me, I've read it. This doesn't bother me. Especially when it comes to the characters. It's way too many to keep track of. I lost track. Couldn't figure out who was who. The constant repetition of naming them was not helpful in any way possible. This is not one of the greatest love stories in world literature. And I honestly wish it was better, because I have a whole stack of Russian literature down there that I want to try. And this was my first into it. So was not really feeling this. We're just going to bounce from good to bad, because less negativity. The Ego Trick by Julian Baggini. So, this is a riveting investigation of the nature of self by one of Britain's best-loved popular philosophers. After reading The Ego Trick, you will never see yourself the same way again. This I give 4 stars. This was fantastic. I mean, he looks at so much psychology of the self, about dissociative identity disorder, things like that. And he really takes a look at how you can be different, how you can find a sense of self, how you look at your future self. Soul-searching kind of ideas, memory-making, how the fact of, like, dementia is not a with a lot of, like, dementia patients, the way they've become to act, like, aggressive is already deep down inside of them, and it's not a new person, it is the way they were or the way they are, it's their own instincts. It was really quite fascinating. It's anecdotal as well, and it's one of them where, very much like The Way Out, which was how to treat chronic pain, which was fantastic, which was one of Jared Leto's books. This was in the same vein of that. I actually quite enjoyed that. And he uses like real people's stories, anecdotal stories as well, to show that people, like, self doesn't technically mean your body, it means your mind. I suppose that was the way he was going with it. It looks up like the best experiments. And he just looks at the single one thing of being the pearl of self. But yeah, I recommend that if you want a good self-help book about how to be yourself. The Ego Trick. Actually, totally recommend it. That felt like a really weird, awkward review, but no, that works. Another... What is it with Tom Hiddleston and really big books? Tom Hiddleston has a problem. This was the Patrick Melrose novels by Edward St. Aubyn. This is 4 or 5 of the Patrick Melrose novels. So, this follows Patrick through his shattered childhood, his haunted 20s, and into the complexities and chaos of his middle age, as he negotiates the death of his parents, the compromise of marriage, and eventually the tenderness of fatherhood. And as I'm going to tell you now, Patrick Melrose is Edward St. Aubyn. So this was a 3-star, because I enjoyed some of the stories and I didn't enjoy the others. So I said that. There's some good bits and some bad bits in all of them. And you do kind of get the ramblings of a drug addict in a lot of places, which Patrick is that. He's complex and very human, and it does make it very easy to tell that actually, no, yeah, Patrick is the author, and the author is Patrick. There's a lot of dark themes in this: death, grief, addiction, that kind of thing. And Patrick does go to some very, very dark places. It does work well in its storytelling. This is such a heavy book. My main issue, though, is some of the chapters are longer than they should be because of the run-on sentences. But I think that's also due to the fact that he is a drug addict. So there are going to be run-on sentences because that's the way his mind works. A bit like Trainspotting. I know Benedict Cumberbatch was in the film, but Benedict Cumberbatch hasn't actually read it. Not that I'm aware of. And the last one, The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I had this actually before I did this video. This has just made me read it. So The Great Gatsby is F. Scott Fitzgerald classic novel of the American Jazz Age. It's a story of a fundamental innocent man drawn to his own destruction through an infatuation with a girl called Daisy, whose voice is full of money. After his war service, Jay Gatsby accumulates a fortune from organised crime, and he invents a legendary new persona for himself. He buys a luxury property on Long Island and across the water from the mansion where Daisy now lives with her husband. He throws extravagant parties to attract her, but her arrival only signals the unravelling of his cherished dream. This was a 4-star. I really enjoyed this. It does actually make you think that the glitz and glamour are the full truth, and that's of the jazz age, and it's nothing but that. But it does. You slowly see the truth start to unravel, and the fact that actually Gatsby and Daisy are not as innocent as they seem, and that actually he's a harsher man than he looks, and she is more promiscuous than she looks, I suppose. It really does start to unravel, and she has so much misplaced devotion for him. And there's so much misplaced devotion just around them in general. It's one I would reread and maybe even annotate at some point. But no, it's a great classic, I think. But yeah, I enjoyed The Great Gatsby, which is surprising. I didn't think I would. So those are Tom Hiddleston's book recommendations. Well, we're in the long stretch now. There's 3 more celebrities to do, or 2 more depending on how I do it. But technically there's 3. There's 3 more celebrities to do. You may not see these videos for a good long while though, because these ones are going to take forever to read because these stacks are massive. But I shall endeavour to get at least one more of them done this year. So, and then I'll have to see where to go from there. If there's another celebrity, I'll do that. If not, I have another idea for y'all. So, yeah, I shall see you next time. Bye.